Undocumented migrants are anxiously watching as Trump's team promises that mass deportations will prioritize public safety and national security threats, and hope it only targets criminals. There are numerous stories of families living in fear of Donald Trump's mass deportation promise. Gabriella entered the United States over 2 decades ago, concealed beneath a pile of corn stalks in the trunk of a smuggler's vehicle. Now a housekeeper in Maryland, this Bolivian national is among at least 13 million undocumented migrants residing in the U.S., an umbrella term that encompasses individuals who entered the U.S. illegally, overstayed their visas, or hold protected status to prevent deportation. Across the nation, migrants like Gabriella are contending with the implications of the incoming Trump administration's pledge to implement mass deportations. In more than a dozen interviews, undocumented immigrants indicated that this topic has sparked intense discussions within their communities. Some, including Gabriella, express a belief that they will remain unaffected. "I'm not scared at all, actually," she stated. "That's for criminals to worry about. I pay taxes and I work. In any case, I'm undocumented," she continued. "So, how would they even know about me?" During an election campaign where immigration emerged as a significant concern for U.S. voters, Trump consistently vowed to deport migrants en masse from his first day in office if he were to regain the presidency. However, nearly 2 weeks following his decisive election victory, the specifics of these immigration enforcement operations remain uncertain. The president-elect has maintained that cost will not be a consideration, yet experts warn that his promises may encounter substantial financial and logistical hurdles. His newly appointed border czar, Tom Homan, has indicated that undocumented migrants identified as national security or public safety threats will be prioritized, and he has suggested the possibility of reinstating workplace raids, a practice discontinued by the Biden administration. Trump wants to follow through on the mandate that American people gave him. U.S. authorities deporting migrants is not a new occurrence. Over 1.5 million individuals have been expelled under President Joe Biden, in addition to millions who were swiftly turned away from the border during the COVID-19 pandemic. During Barack Obama's 8-year administration, often referred to as the deporter-in-chief, approximately 3 million people were deported, focusing on single men from Mexico who could be easily deported from border regions. J.D. Vance, Trump's running mate and incoming vice president, has asserted that deportations could start with 1 million people. Nonetheless, some undocumented migrants believe that they may benefit from a Trump presidency rather than face expulsion. Many Latinos, those who can vote, did so because they believe he, Trump, can enhance the economy. "That would be advantageous for us as well," remarked Carlos, an undocumented Mexican residing in New York City, whose son is a U.S. citizen. According to the American Immigration Council, a nonpartisan organization dedicated to researching and advocating for reform of the U.S. immigration system, there are over 5 million Americans born to undocumented parents who possess the security of U.S. citizenship. Carlos admits to being a little concerned about the possibility of being swept up in immigration raids, though that anxiety is mitigated by the prospect of an improved economy under Trump and increased job opportunities. "Things may be a bit tense right in our communities right now, but being worried isn't a solution," he stated. "The best thing to do is avoid problems and not commit any crimes." Promises of mass deportations constituted a central element of Donald Trump's 2024 electoral campaign and were prominently featured at the Republican National Convention in July. Yet many do not share this optimism and live in fear. Among them is California resident Eric Bautista, a dreamer who benefits from a long-standing program that protects individuals brought illegally to the U.S. as children from deportation. At 29, Mr. Bautista has only faint memories of life in Mexico, the country he left at the age of 7. "I have never experienced such feelings, even after more than 20 years in this position," Mr. Bautista stated to the BBC. "We appear to be at a pivotal moment, witnessing a resurgence of nativism akin to what I educate my students about. It presents a future filled with fear and uncertainty for us." Advocates and legal experts indicated that there is no assurance that undocumented migrants without criminal convictions would be exempt from heightened deportation initiatives. Aaron Reichlin Melnick, policy director at the American Immigration Council, predicted an increase in collateral arrests, a term employed during the first Trump administration to describe immigrants apprehended during enforcement actions despite not being the initial targets. Consider a scenario where authorities pursue an individual with a criminal record residing in a household with 4 other undocumented individuals, he explained. During the first Trump administration, we observed that those individuals would also be arrested. How would Trump's promise of mass deportations of migrants be implemented? In a recent interview with CBS, Holman was queried about a hypothetical case wherein a grandmother might be caught in a targeted enforcement operation aimed at criminals. When asked about the potential for her deportation, Holman replied, "It depends. Let the judge decide," he stated. "We will remove individuals as per a judge's deportation order." The arrest and possible removal of such collateral arrests would signify a significant shift from the Biden administration's approach, which has prioritized public safety threats and the deportation of individuals shortly after their apprehension at the border. While Holman recently dismissed the notion of mass sweeps of neighborhoods or the establishment of large detention centers, stock prices for companies involved in building detention facilities have surged by as much as 90% since the election. This includes publicly traded prison firms Geo Group and CoreCivic. Undocumented migrants contribute to various sectors of the U.S. economy, from agriculture to warehousing and construction. Mr. Reichland Melnick remarked that operations targeting such workplaces could result in indiscriminate detentions. "I do not believe that being an individual with no criminal record who pays taxes offers any protection," he noted. One of the first actions Trump will undertake is to eliminate the Biden administration's enforcement priorities. History has shown that in the absence of priorities, authorities will pursue the easiest targets. The prospect of being labeled an easy target has caused significant concern among many migrants, particularly those from families with mixed legal statuses. Their primary fear is the potential for separation. Brenda, a 37-year-old Mexico-born dreamer residing in Texas, currently enjoys protection from deportation, whereas her husband and mother do not. Her 2 children, born in the U.S., are American citizens. While Brenda conveyed to the BBC that she does not believe good people would be the initial targets for deportation, she cannot dismiss the anxiety surrounding the possibility of her husband being sent back to Mexico. "It is crucial for us to witness our sons grow up," she expressed. "Naturally, the thought of separation is frightening.